You are listening to SFL Radio.
You're listening to the Owner's Box podcast on SFL Radio. Now here's the host of the SOB and my bongo-playing compadre, Stephen Mullinax. All right.
Welcome to the SFL Owner's Box. The SOB is a weekly 30-minute podcast that covers all the headline-worthy topics from this week in the Simulation Football League, a.k.a. the SFL. For the uninitiated, the SFL is the ultimate sim football experience that features real-life users as players, coaches, and owners. With 2 fully commentated games a week, full stat tracking provided by DaxStats, fantasy football, and much, much more, this is the ultimate sim experience for football lovers everywhere. Find out how you can get involved at simulationfl.com. That's simulationfl.com.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the Access!
All right, it's a pleasure for me now to introduce the president of the SFL, former owner of the DC Dragons, Mr. Jermaine Smith. Destro, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and yourself?
Doing great, man. Thank you for taking time out of, I know you're very busy schedule, to talk with us. First things first, I want to know, as a former owner, how does it feel like not to own a team this season?
Well, I guess it depends on, what day that you ask me. Most of the time, to be honest with you, it feels good not to have a team. I don't have to worry about the off-season foolishness and, this rule, that rule. And, me, I'm like, man, I don't have time for that nonsense. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's get started. Then there are times, when I look at certain teams and while I'm hexing and not only hexing, but in putting playbook selections in, I'm thinking to myself, how would my team from either season 5, season 6, or 7, how would they match up against this team or that team? And then I wonder, it's like, man, and then something in the back of my head, it creeps up. It's like, do I miss my team? And as soon as it comes back in that I miss my team, that it gets shut down immediately. It's like, no, I don't miss my team. I'm too busy to have a team, The thing is about that is, like I've said this before many times, is that, yes, it's great to have a team, and it was an honor to be here for 3 seasons, have a team. The issue was just time, and I knew that, with seasons 6 and then season 7 in particular, I knew that, not only do I have to, hex and program for the entire league, but I also have to get ready for my own team. And I knew that, it was just like you jump from one thing, into another. And so therefore, and with other things going on, outside of SFL, it was kind of like, okay, I don't have that much time to devote into my team, and because I got to worry about the hexing part too. And so therefore, I was like, okay, well, I think it's maybe time to give up the squad. And then Cam came to me and he asked me, would you be willing to give the team? And without hesitation, I said, yeah, because it's time for someone else who's able to have the time to put in the work. They deserve the team, more than I do. So, it's time to go into the league office.
Did it help the fact that you already have a chip?
Yes, I think that's it. Because, if I didn't have a championship, I'd probably be like, well, I'm trying to get my championship. But the fact that I got it first, my first go around, and then it's kind of like, well, I got my chip. And, some people are, they want to get more. And me, I was like, well, you know what? I had the season 5 championship, and in my personal opinion, I think it's the most prestigious out of all the championships, and mainly because of how it was won. And so after all that, I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't need any more championships because there's no way I'll be able to top off what we topped off and what we did in season 5 and the way we won it in season 5. And so I was like, there's no way I can top it. And even if I did win 5 more championships. So it's like, let's just go ahead and step away, retire from the team, and become the SFL president.
So you mentioned that you hex the game, you enter in our team build, you did all that, and I want to say thank you for I'm sure everyone, I can say this, from everyone in the SFL, thank you for all the hard work and time and effort you put into making those little details that really make the league special. When you enter in those team builds at the start of this season, were there some that really kind of piqued your interest, for better or for worse?
Well, once again, your build, the Dallas, Dallas team, they Roughnecks, they have a great build. I noticed you went 4 receivers again. This time you changed, instead of having all bronzes, you added a gold and silver to it, and that was a unique build. One that really got to me was Jason, the Sioux Falls Sparrows. The fact that he went with a generic or non-star running back, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's interesting because to me, I always said to myself, as long as I have a team, there will always be a goal and no exceptions and nobody else. But
Yeah.
he took the chance, and he's, he has a generic back or a non-star back there, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. And I think he's 2-1 right now, so he's doing pretty good.
Not too bad. Yeah, and do you like the guys that take risks like that? Do you like those risk takers?
Yeah, I mean, to me, you have to mix it up. And I think, looking back on, season 5 or 6, or season 6 and 7, I pretty much, well, you can count 5 in that too, is that I pretty much had the same team all 3 seasons. And looking back at it, and I look at some of these builds here, it's thinking, I should have did this. I should have did that. I should have mixed it up a little bit more. Maybe we would have been more successful. I don't know. But, I chose a safe route because, once again, it was part of that thing of having that team, and the part that irritated me was having to go through that, off season issues and things like that. And to me, it's like, okay, well, the simplest thing for me to do is just have the same team, for the same bill for 3 seasons. But yeah, I prefer guys to mix it up a little bit, not necessarily every season, but every other season.
Kind of keep things fresh. I'm gonna go off script a little bit here, and your legacy lives on, and a lot of the DC players that are still in the league, and through the owner now of the Atlanta Swarm, Mark Chisholm. He had mentioned in a previous interview that I did with him that you guys had talked a little bit about the bronze quarterback, and coming off of a 7 touchdown game against St. Louis with Skeletor P. Funk, who was a bronze for them. Now that you're not a team owner, can you share a little bit about what you think? If is there a big difference to you between a gold quarterback and a bronze?
Well, yes, it's obviously there's a difference between a gold and a bronze. Usually a gold can, he can make the passes, the deep passes without having to cock back, versus a bronze he has to cock back and throw the deep ball. But it goes by what kind of system you want to run. In my first season 5, the quarterback only had quick release. This was before hexing was involved. He only had one ability, and that was quick release. And so what we did was, okay, well, I don't want to throw the ball much anyway. Why do I waste a gold on a quarterback, and all I want to do is hand the ball off to the running back because he's gold. That's pretty much all I wanted to do. Occasional pass here and there, or a little quick dump, but no, I don't need him to throw any deep balls. What was shocking to us was that when we did put certain plays in, and we're seeing the bronze quarterback make these throws, and I'm thinking, okay, well, if he's doing these nice little throws and all we have is a bronze with one ability, let's go ahead and let's implement some more plays to see what he can do. And I mean, it's just crazy to where that season, Zuli, he had the second best QB rating in that entire league, and only had 6 interceptions out of 8 games.
Wow.
And and then also people also forget that in that championship game, this Gorillas, they also had a bronze quarterback with leadership ability. And so here you are in the championship game, and first time ever. Not only do you have the first time that you have bronze quarterbacks in the league, but they're facing each other in the championship game.
Wow.
So when we had that conversation I had a conversation with Chisholm during the season because I was disappointed with the gold. Today I'm thinking to myself, okay, this gold should be playing better. He's playing a non-star right now, and I'm thinking, I was like, yeah, I think, if you get a team or, if I have a team next season, I think it's best to go bronze because, if we have, especially if you're a goal running back, your main thing is handing the ball off anyway. And if you want to run like a West Coast style offense to where you're doing a lot of quick slants and stuff like that, short routes, it's like, what's the purpose? And you'll probably have a lot more success with the bronze than wasting it with a silver or gold.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people will be watching Atlanta's, progress this season, and we may have an influx of bronze quarterbacks again here the following year or the following season later this year. You mentioned a little bit about hexing. We know that you use that great All-Pro Football editor that was developed by King Havo. And we talked a little bit about this before we went on air here. But there is a new editor on the horizon, and there may be some new little tweaks and things that may be possible that'll affect SFL players.
Oh yes, I spoke to Havo 2 or 3 days ago, and he said he's come up with a new version, 1.4. It's going to add some more features to the editor. Now, we didn't get into specifics as to what's going to happen. I do knowing him, he's going to focus more on the offline mode more than the online, which that benefits the SFL since, we're in the offline mode. And so can't wait to get into too many specifics right now because he's still trying to experiment with things, trying to try some things out. But, I'll get in contact with him, and, we're going to see if, what he does, how it will, what he programs inside that editor, how it will benefit the SFL.
That's exciting. I think even just knowing that there's a new editor on the horizon, that there may be some possibilities for even more customization in some form or fashion. That's just knowing that is exciting. How difficult, and this is again off the script a little bit, how difficult is cross conference play as you the hex editor, as the person who has to put in these changes and these divide up these divisions in a certain way to get this done? How much of a pain in the ass is it, cross conference?
Well, the thing is, I make it a pain in the backside because it's how I do things. I have to always go the complicated route versus the simple route. It's how it works, and pretty much just to make it quick, I don't want to bore anybody who's listening to the show. Basically, the way it works is I do the regular conferences, and then when cross conference starts, I'll take, let's say, 4 teams that are already on that file, leave them alone. The other 4, I'll just reprogram those teams and rearrange things around and to where it will suit basically it will. Let me back up here. Basically, what happens is that I reprogram the new team over the old team so that I don't have to recreate every single team all over again. To where one file, I already have 4 teams already programmed. Now I just reprogram the 4 on top of the old, and then the same thing with the other conference. I take 4 teams that are already on the file, and then I just take the 4 new teams, program on top of the old players, and then that's how I go from there. And it makes it simpler. That's a simple route. The problem is that it has to be a lot more tedious because now there's some situations to where I have to take a star player, turn him into a non-star player, and then I have to manually go in and adjust all his abilities. And I have a chart here that tells me what the positions is, the abilities, and I have to adjust his attributes accordingly and make sure that it's back to what it's supposed to be and not making mistakes at all. Luckily for me, in the new version of the editor, I'm going to have the ability to where I can just click a button and it'll do all that for me.
Oh, wow.
So that's one thing I do know. But, that's one of the tedious things of cross conference. And then especially this season, last season we had 4 files. The year before that, last year we had 4 files, but this year we had 5. And the reason why, because since it was 7 on 7, 14 teams total, and it was uneven teams. And so we had to make a week 4 only file. And, so then instead of having 3 balls or 2 balls to juggle, now you've got that extra cross conference file to juggle.
That's crazy.
So,
well, thank you for your work on that. We're all
my pleasure.
We're all enjoying the benefits of that. Actually, cross conference had a couple of games play last week. This week, obviously, I think they're all cross-conference, which would not be possible without your hard work. But are there any cross-conference battles here that are coming up that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to, I don't know, Houston and Baltimore. I'm looking for that one.
Aha. Yeah, both teams coming in with 2-game winning streaks.
Yeah, yes, sir. And then you've got 5 former Dragon players between the two teams on the field.
Yeah.
So you've got Castro Patron, who's the middle linebacker, who was the outside linebacker for us last season. Now he's a middle linebacker. He's the man in Baltimore. And then, of course, in Houston, you've got Deion Hawkins, Cody Cantrell, Greg Corky, and Dominique Porter. Those guys, and they're on that squad. And so, both of them, like you said, they're on a 2-game winning streak, and I think it's going to be a great game.
So with that being said, let's if you don't mind joining me, Jermaine, let's go over some of the Week 4 results. I want to kind of get your take on it. Atlanta over St. Louis, 56-23. Obviously, you have ties to Atlanta with Mark Chisholm. But another 54-point performance of an opponent for St. Louis. This is St. Louis's 3rd straight loss by 50-plus. What do you think is wrong with the Gladiators?
Well, I can't go into specific detail because, I do have access to their playbook and everyone else's.
Sure.
I will say, my perspective is different. I'm punching the information in, and I just think that the way their team build is, but by having a gold and 2 silvers on that defensive line, and a combination of their playbooks, of their plays, and I'm just thinking to myself, they're not set up with success, in my personal opinion. Me personally, if you want to spend, if you want to have 1 gold on that line, that's great, and maybe a bronze, that will work, but to basically have a gold and 2 silvers and to where you can use that in your safety, that's where you need help. And, they need that safety help because that's where they're getting torched. When you let a bronze quarterback, and yes, I love bronze quarterback, but no bronze quarterback should drop 455 on you.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that, and so that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's basically it. I said, I don't want to tell everybody what's going on because I can't, and I wouldn't do that. But just by, I think what I'm saying is not surprising anybody else who observes the game. Having 3, major silvers on the line, and a combination of having some of the formation they have in a game, they're not set up with success. They're doomed to fail.
Again, not going into detail. Let's even throw the playbook out of this. Just with their team build, without that safety that you mentioned, do you think that you could find a way to make it work if you were putting their playbook together? Is there a way to make it work?
Yeah, they had to take certain formations out, and like I said, I can't go into details.
No,
of that,
I don't want
they have to take certain formations out. They got to realize that the formations they have in the game, that you can't. You're setting your players up to fail, and you need to put them in the right position.
Gotcha.
And they got to realize what you have, and I understand it's a new group.
Yeah.
And so it's not like a veteran group, and then those guys will learn, and hopefully, toward the middle or maybe toward the end of the season, they will get it right. So I don't want to, I don't want to come across as I'm dogging them or disrespect them in any way. It's a learning process. And as for me, although I was hatching the game, all this, computer versus computer thing was new to me as well, and that was a learning curve, for me as well.
Yes.
And then I had to figure it out. How to turn around, and so they will. I have confidence they will. They will. Get things straight. They'll get it together, and I see them. Be successful. And if they don't get it this year, there's always next year.
And what about their quarterback, Jalen Thomas? I think that's you've been around a lot longer than I have. Have we seen kind of an athletic quarterback like that in the SFL before?
Nah, he's the fastest quarterback the SFL has ever had, and he and I think they should utilize that. Once again, it goes back to playbook selection. I think they need to know what they have and then utilize the skills properly.
Right.
And then once they figure that out, he's going to be a beast.
And you got to remind those people that are listening that there's only a limited amount of changes that you can make to the original playbook that you submitted at the beginning of the year. That you can only do so much every game. So it's almost a little by little chipping away at your playbook to try and find the right fit for your players. And I absolutely agree with you. I think there's a way to make it work. They're just going to have to find that way in their playbook now. I think they do have the personnel to be successful. But you're absolutely right. It's a learning curve, especially this computer versus computer stuff, because you can play it, as a player, and be successful and not be successful owning a team, just because it's almost about eliminating the bad plays and finding the right plays that work for your team does. Okay, let's move on to the next game here. Vegas over Oklahoma City, 27-22. Yeah, the Gamblers have kind of been the surprise of the season so far this year. So I'm going to ask you, Destro, are the Gamblers for real with the 14th ranked offense in the SFL and the 11th ranked defense, but they're finding the ways at least to be in games, win games, or I think they're, if I'm not mistaken, 2-1 right now.
Yes, sir.
With they just barely lost to Houston. Are they for real?
I feel the jury's still out on them. I want to give them maybe two, maybe three more games. And, then we'll know if they're legit or they're just the same old team that used to be in Cleveland. I say hats off to them. They're 2-1. A great chance of being 3-0. But, this is what it is right now. And so I think that, I think the jury's still out on them.
And they have actually some a lot of players there from the Wolfpack, Louisville, and that Rick O'Reilly. I think that's a perfect example of how a goal defender can impact games.
Right, because once again they got the man. He terrorized our team back in season 5. He's terrorized offensive lines. The last 3 seasons, and so he's doing the same thing. He had a lot. I can't remember exact number, but he had a few sacks this last game, and he's placed in the middle. So he's going up the middle. He's eating the centers up, and once again, they put him in a position to be successful. And that going back to St. Louis, they need to put people there to be successful, and then they'll have the same results.
Kind of a surprise result this past week. The Alaska Storm defeat the Sioux Falls Sparrows 24-17 in what was really a nail-biter game back and forth. So the Storm are now 2-2 after being 1-2, and their offense came alive a little bit here. What do you make of this Storm team?
I can't put my finger on them because, they stuck up the joint against the Sharks. And then, but they beat Sioux Falls to where, if I was a gambling man, I would have had Sioux Falls beating them. Yeah. But, they found a way. They got that last interception to win the game to seal the deal. So, I think they're a type of team, I think they're going to, you don't know what to expect. They might come out and, they're competitive. Then in the next game, you wonder where are they? And so for right now, I can't put my finger on, on this team. I just know they're decent, they're solid, and they're one of they're the other team that has the bronze quarterback.
Right.
And so he's done pretty well for himself. And so once again, it's another team to where it's like, well, you're unsure of. He's got to wait 2-3 more games to see how they really are.
And I thought it was here I'm throwing you another curveball here, and I thought Alaska's team build was really built to play in bad weather. And you've been in the league a while, and you've experienced some bad weather yourself. How much is weather? How much can the weather up there in Alaska really benefit the Storm team?
Well, they have a double tight end set, and the formation they run is built for those jumbo sets, and so it's built to run in the snow and the weather, mm-hmm. And so they got the pieces there. So not only they don't know what's going on, it's just that when it comes to certain plays, they either make them or they don't make them. Against the Sharks, if I remember correctly, I think that was a road game, and they just they stung up the joint. The guys got whooped, but but they play Sioux Falls and they handle business, and they sealed the deal. So once again, it's the team is built for success, and I believe they are. You know, they will be successful, but once again, you got to wait the next 2 or 3 games to see, you know, what they're all about.
Tallahassee, who's the only undefeated team in the league, they beat Mexico City 36-27 in another. It was really a game. I actually just watched that last night. It was chock full of mistakes on both sides. But the Aztecs dropped to 1-3. You had talked a little bit about Santa Fe, y'all being former opponents in the championship game a few seasons ago. Are the Aztecs better than their 1-3 record suggests?
Oh yes, they're better than 1-3 records. I just think that, you know, what the Aztecs are going through is similar to what we went through last season. You know, we were 4-8, but we're losing by 3 points, 4 points, 7 points. We only really got whooped one game, maybe like one game. That was the last game of the season, or actually 2 games. Santa Fe beat us last season. You know, they dogged us on a night game, but it's the same scenario here. You know, they shouldn't be 1-3. They should be 3-1 or 2-2. But once again, it's, you know, football's game of inches, and all it takes is, you know, they didn't score enough points. Therefore, they come up on a losing end, and it's unfortunate because that team build is another team that is like, okay, you know, they have Chris Davis back there, you have a goal wide receiver who's going to be running kickoffs, returns, and you know, I think he's only had one return back, and you know, I know Ramos, he pushed hard for that this past off season, and so I think they need to have more. They need to get more out of Chris Davis. You know, he's doing a pretty good job as a receiver, but you know, I think once he improves on special teams, you know, at least get a kickoff return for a touchdown, you know, once a game or every other game, I think they'll turn it around.
Los Angeles defeated Carolina 17-10, and the Skyhawks are 0-4 on the season. They continue to struggle. They've struggled really for their entire franchise history here in the league, and they're trying to turn that around. What do you think attributes to their struggles?
Getting over that hump. It's the same thing as Mexico City. Getting over that hump. You know, making the right play, the crucial plays. You know, when they're going against Tallahassee, they had an opportunity to win the game, and they just didn't do it. They didn't close. You know, they should have tied the game and tried to pull it off, you know, in overtime. But, you know, they didn't. They failed. And against the Sharks, you know, they contained the Sharks all the first half.
Yeah.
It was a defensive game back and forth. But then once Doug Bose got rolling, and that was it. It was like, you know, seeing John Riggins. It was just downhill, boom, boom, boom. And from that point, it was no good. They couldn't stop the running game. And you can't stop the running game, you know, you can hang it up.
Right. Finally, the last game of Week 4, Houston over Queen City, 34-20. The Hyenas have a number of the DC Dragons players on their squad, which you mentioned before. What do you like that you've seen out of them so far?
Balance.
Yeah.
I prefer balance. They mix their plays up. You know, I like teams that mix their plays up and not running, you know, same 3-4 plays over and over again. They're mixing it up. They play great defense. They're, you know, they can get better quarterback play. Now, Cody Cantrell did a decent or a pretty good job last week. They only had 1 interception, but, you know, he needs to have a mistake-free game going against Baltimore, because, you know, Baltimore has, you know, they have a lot of safety help and secondary help, and so those guys they're very good at snatching balls out of the air, and so Cody Cantrell has to be spot on this week, you know, against Baltimore. So yeah, they need to. Yeah, that's the main thing. And then on the defensive side, you know, Porter, he's back there, another former Dragon, he's back there as a safety. Once again, when Baltimore wants to throw those fade routes, and he's got to be there to snatch them out of the air.
That's our Week 4 results review there. And Jermaine's agreed to go through Week 5 preview with me as well. So we're going to take a look at some of the great games that are on docket here. We'll start off with the Los Angeles Sharks traveling to St. Louis to play those winless Gladiators. Is this Destro? Is this another 50-point beating in the making?
Well, it all depends on the adjustments that the coaching staff for St. Louis make. If they make the proper adjustments, then they do their due diligence and make the proper adjustments, then yes, if they don't do that, then yeah, you're looking at another 50-point beat down, and it's unfortunate because that's not what I know they put in the work and they don't want to see this every single week, but if they don't make the proper adjustments, yeah, it's going to be another 50-point plus beating, unfortunately, because what's going to happen is it's going to be similar to Carolina. But it's going to be a lot more. Doug Bowles, once he gets rolling, it's a wrap from that point. He's going to just mow him down and just put his head down and put his shoulder down and just mow them down. It's going to be over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think the key to beating LA is to get a lead on them early, make them play from behind, and make Matt South beat you. If you fall to LA, the computer's automatically going to start looking for Bose more, trying to run that clock, and the more the big guy gets it, the more he's just going to pound that defensive line, no matter how talented they are. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Unless there's some dramatic changes that are made, this one looks pretty lopsided. Obviously, the SFL, there's always surprises, and that could be one of them. Carolina Skyhawks, who are 0-4, they're going into Oklahoma City. Can the Skyhawks get their first W of the season here?
They can. It's going to be tough. Vegas went in there last week and got the victory, so Carolina can do it. But Carolina has to play mistake-free football, and they got to be fundamentally sound from start to finish. They can't, take a quarter off or take a half off. They have to, they have to stop Mario Savage. They don't have to stop the fades. They don't have to, play mistake-free football. You can't throw a lot of interceptions, But I think this week, they will get their first victory against Oklahoma City.
That's
great.
Really do. And, for me, the key matchups is going to be O'Reilly and Red Feather. I mean, how much is O'Reilly going to affect that passing game? They've got some nice targets out there in Piper and Hamby for Red Feather. But is he going to have enough time to find them with Riley running down his throat? That'll be the big matchup for me. Moving on to the next game, unless you want to talk a little bit more there.
No, just saying. I was about to say is that O'Reilly's going to have, once again, he's going to have to eat him up. Because Red Feather, if you hit him a few times, he gets a little, woozy, and he started throwing a lot of interceptions. I remember, back in season 5, we was tapping him a few times, and he threw 4 picks in that, and that was our very first game on Father's Day. And so I do know if you put a helmet in his chest and put a helmet in his ribs a few times, and he's going to cough that ball
up. Queen City is going into Vegas, Sin City. So it's Queen City and Sin City there. And the Gamblers have a bit of momentum right now. I mean, they could easily be 3-0. And the Corsairs did not look very good Monday night against Houston. Can the Corsairs somehow find a way to overcome those Vegas odds?
Yeah, I know that their coaching staff, I know Barkley himself, I know they'll have those guys ready to go into Vegas and go out there with a victory. Queen City, besides last year, I think last year's kind of a down period, although they went into the playoff or they squeaked into the playoffs. But, I think that Barkley, him being a 3-time champion, SFL champion, I think he'll get those guys ready and go in there and squeak out a victory against Vegas. It won't be easy. It won't be a cakewalk like Las Vegas / Cleveland is used to being, but, they'll get the victory by like 7 points.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not concerned at all about Queen City's slow start, and their passing game has a lot of work to do. But it sounds like you're not worried at all.
No, this is it's almost like a pattern to where they go down, then they come up, they go down, they go up. You go back to season 6, it's kind of the same thing. They're just kind of lingering on, and all of a sudden, boom, they're 7-5 and they go and win the championship. So. I'm not surprised what's going on at all. And also it's too early as well. We only went 3 or 4 games in, so we have to wait and see. But I believe it's their history. I believe that they'll turn around, and this will be the game that when they start that.
Sioux Falls coming off a defeat from Alaska. They're going to go into Dallas now. We're talking about two of the primary passing offense, two of the most explosive passing offenses in the SFL going head-to-head. What do you think about that matchup?
This one, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a lot of passing. I think both quarterbacks are going to have over 300 yards passing. The running backs, they're going, I know for Dallas, he's going to have at least 100. It's possible even the bronze running back for, I can't remember his name right now, but for Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls has a non-star.
That's right, I forgot. That's right, non-star. I got it mixed up with Santa Fe. I'm sorry.
No problem.
But yeah, they have that non-star running back, but Jason will find a way, and he'll be competitive. He'll run the ball to make keep the defense honest. But for the most part, I feel it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a shootout with 300 yards passing, and I think it'll come down to the wire in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
The thing that surprised me just studying, getting ready for this game, is I figured that Sioux Falls would want to really stay away from any type of running game or using that running back on swing plays. That is not the case. Jason has a real strong belief that non-stars can get the job done in spot duty. Do you agree?
Yeah, it can be done. He took a challenge on that. A leap of faith is something I couldn't do. I would never do that. I got to at least put something back there. But to me, it's always going to be a goal. But for him, he wanted to try something different. He wanted to use that gold elsewhere, or utilize his talent, in other parts of the team, and so say, hey, this is my team build, and I'm going to win. I'm going to be the first one to win without a star running back.
And you've been putting these team builds in for a few seasons now. Have you ever seen that many star players and that much talent on the defensive side of the ball?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot. It's a lot. I think season 6, I want to say, was it Carolina? Somebody had like 7 on that side, if I recall. I can't remember, but not that many on defense. So you can see that Jason is heavily invested in that on that defense. Yeah. You figure, what? I'll run with a generic running back, but I'll make sure that my defense is on point.
It's hard to game plan for. I'm gonna tell you that. Okay, we'll go to the next game. Alaska, who is coming off a fresh win there against the aforementioned Sioux Falls Sparrows, they're going to be heading into A-Town to face the Atlanta Swarm, and part of your coaching tree there, Mark Chisholm, the battle of the two of the newest SFL teams. Who do you like? I don't want to do that to you. I don't want you to tell me who you think will win if you don't want to, but as the president. But what do you think of this matchup?
Battle of the bronze quarterbacks. I think this will be a great game. Alaska, they're going to have to stop Skeletor P. Funk. Don't underestimate him because he's a bronze. You've seen what he's done so far. You've seen what he's done in the past. And they're going to have to play fundamentally sound football, great defense. Atlanta, the same thing. They've got a line, a good lineman. He's going to have to put pressure on Alaska because knowing Alaska, the ball's coming off fast. It's not going to be hold on the ball and wait for something to develop. It's going to be set a height, take a read or two, boom. So both. It's going to be a great game. I think it's not going to be a high scoring game. It's going to be like 30, 40 some points. I believe it's going to be anywhere, like a 17, 21, 17 type of game.
All right. I want to just kind of point out a player here that I think is going to have a major impact, and that's Ludacris, the gold defensive tackle, 3.5 sacks in their previous matchup against St. Louis. He was able to really get after the quarterback. So Murdoch Mock could be running for his life in this one, especially at home in Atlanta. All right, finally, another Houston game at the end here we're talking about, and one that you've already touched on, looking forward to. Houston travels to Baltimore to face the Crabs in Obey Stadium. Both teams coming into this contest have 2-game winning streaks. So who budges here, Jermaine, what do you think of this matchup?
It's going to be once again. It's going to be a tough one. No high scoring. It's going, I think it's going to be like a 24-21 type of game. The key to me, the key is that Baltimore is going to have to once again. Houston mixes it up a little bit. They do rely on the run, but the run is such the pass, and they're going to have to shut Hawkins down. That's where it starts. They want to win. They shut him down. Everything else will fall into play because Cody Cantrell is known for throwing interceptions, and Baltimore is very good at making interceptions. And so if they can shut down Hawkins, then they can, snatch the ball out of the air when Cody Cantrell makes the pass. Now for Houston, let's just be honest. Swing Pass City is now relocated to Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah.
Okay? And so you're going to have to watch that as well. That's not all what they do, but, as you see, that's what they've implemented in their offense. So, once again, the defensive coordinator over there, I believe it's Corky, or he's a coach, I'm sorry, he's a head coach. He's going to have to make those adjustments the same way he did last season against Sioux Falls. He do the same thing against Baltimore to be successful.
And you mentioned Baltimore's offense, Swing City using that running back, getting like 20-plus receptions a game. Are you surprised when they came out with that the team build? They had 4 wide receivers there, but they're not really using those 4 wide receiver sets very much.
Yeah, I was surprised because when I was inputting information into the editor and the game itself. I saw the 4 wide receivers. I'm thinking, okay, now are they using that because of Dallas? Because they lost to Dallas in the playoffs, and so they want to use what they did over there onto their team. And I saw that. I was okay. Well, I expect them. They have a new quarterback now, and Rastelli, and so they're going to throw the ball more and run. But I see they decided to go a different route. They're still running the jumbo packages, and as right now, they're 2-1 and. It's that old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and they can always pull it out if they need it. That's the great thing about the playbook. They can just spring it on somebody mid-season or in any game that they wanted to. And in their 3 wide receiver sets, if you have your main receiver or another receiver gets fatigued, then your backup is a star player. So, it did surprise me as well. But, hey, like you said, it's working for them. So no reason to change right now. Okay. Well, that's it for our Week 5 preview. I want to absolutely thank Jermaine Smith, president of the SFL, for being with us tonight. Thank you for all that you do for us, the league, the things that people know about with the hexing, and the things that people don't know about that you do behind the scenes. I just want to personally thank you, and I'm sure everyone in the league feels the same.
My pleasure. It's a pleasure doing it. At times it's tedious and you're fighting sleep doing it because your eyes water because all the little letters and typing this thing and adjusting this thing and flipping this around and going behind and doing this. But it's what I do. It's almost like it's a hobby and it's what I do. I like doing it and I'm glad that you guys appreciate it, and I'm just glad to be a part of the league. And yeah, I don't have a team anymore, but you know what? It's a great thing to you'll be able to contribute and watch the league grow, and knowing that you had a part of it, and I'm honored to be your guys' president. So thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, one last question: is the door open? Is there at least a little crack that maybe some point in the future you'd get back into owning a team?
I wish, but it would be unfair because I do have all you all's playbooks, and it'll be kind of messed up. I come back, to make a comeback. Oh, come back, DC Dragons, and once we go undefeated, all of a sudden the red flags come up, and the owners' meetings will be all heated, and it's like, no, I don't want that anymore.
Well, I think, I could probably speak for all the owners, is that I think if you do decide to come back, that would not be an issue. We'd absolutely trust you because we've trusted you for so many seasons. So I don't see why we would stop now. So, again, thank you for everything you do, President Smith, and thank you for coming on the podcast.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.